Hello everybody, welcome to the World Out Mode. My name is Tristan Fleur along with Nathan Gergen, Connor Kelly, David Desplinter, AJ Brisbane, and we're here with you. AJ, why do you have a pumpkin?
So in our class we're having a pumpkin painting competition, each of our departments, so trying to make the best pumpkin, and I'm going to be doing it right now.
All right, so we're going to see what AJ comes up with. We'll check with him at the end of the episode today. You'll see his progress as he paints throughout the class. But we're going to go ahead and get into what we're talking about today. Today is the MLB season. Oh, wow. Today's we're going to do MLB season recap so far today. As of last night, filming day, the Washington Nationals won the World Series in 7 games. But Nathan, we're going to go ahead and start it out with you. We don't have a wheel today. But you have something you want to talk about, and I'm interested to hear what it is. None of us know what you're going to talk about. So this should be interesting.
Well, I texted in the group chat this morning. I'm like, guys, I don't want to do a wheel. There's something I need to talk about right now. Since the Nationals won the World Series, I just thought I would give you a little filler on the 4 MLB teams that came in 1969. If you didn't know, there was a huge expansion in 1969. 4 teams were introduced in the NL. We had the Expos and the Padres. The Expos are now in Washington. And in the AL, we have the Kansas City Royals and Seattle Pilots. Brewers are that team now. They're in the NL. But what I was trying to touch on is because these guys have had historically bad luck. Before yesterday, the Royals were the only ones that had World Series titles. The Padres have appeared in a few World Series. The Brewers have appeared in 1. The Nationals hadn't even appeared in a World Series before this. And, you just have to feel happy. And, they might have beaten the Brewers in the wild card, but I always have to root for these teams, I feel, just because they are so monumentally unlucky. And so it's just nice to see them have success, and I hope it comes to another certain 1969 expansion team in Milwaukee in the future. So just a big congratulations to the Nationals. You're making our expansion class look good.
All right. So after that, we're going to go to our ad from Sky Zone. Southeastern Sports Network is made possible by Sky Zone and Fishers this year. Come in and fly with them this fall. Sky Zone and Fishers off of 121st Street, reminding you to have fun and fly safe. A big shout out to Sky Zone, who is sponsoring SSN for all 3 sports seasons this year. Big shout out to Sky Zone. Now, as we move on to our next segment, we're going to talk about the MLB season this year. So we have 2 questions. One is, who is in a good position for next year, and who is your extremely early World Series predictions for next year? Obviously, we're going to talk about the Nationals. What were your thoughts about the World Series, guys?
Well, I thought it was a great series. It was weird how the home team did not win 1 game in the world. That's got to be some sort of record.
No, it's the only time it's happened.
It felt like it had to be.
Something year history.
Yeah, great series, very entertaining. Well, I thought Scherzer pitched a good game. I didn't know how he was going to hold up because he had that neck problem with the neck spasms, and he could barely even lift his arm, but got a cortisone shot, and he came back good, and obviously the Nationals won their first World Series ever.
Yeah.
I just, that World Series, it was a really fun one to watch, but what really bothers me is that the Astros, I don't know if it was a Game 7, so it's like go all in because there is no tomorrow. So when they had Garrett Cole as a relieving option, because usually he's an ace, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and they didn't go to him. I think that's going to be remembered as a fatal mistake by the Astros.
Greinke played well.
Greinke played well, but the relievers didn't.
No,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole could have relieved. So I think that's going to be viewed as a mistake, but it was really fun. Unless you went to a game as like the home team's fan, it was just disappointing. But I think it was a great series.
Bob Ross, thoughts?
I thought it was a great series. It was kind of cool to see the best team all year go down, and a team that hasn't won it all. The Nationals never won it all, but they did back in 1920. but it was cool to see them get their first title. Great series, obviously. Any series that goes to 7 games is going to be great. A lot of great moments. I thought it was a good series.
Mr. Splinter?
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously a good series going to 7, and it seemed like the Astros up 2-0 in the 7th. Pretty much, we're gonna close it out, but the Nationals' power just went off, I guess. Yeah, I guess it was a good series to see someone new win.
I think it was an interesting series. I was rooting for the Astros pretty much the entire time because, the Nationals took out my Cardinals. But, hey, it's fine. We lost the World Series champions. I guess you can say that. But the Nationals and Astros were two teams that were very different. Astros, everyone expected the Astros to be there. Nobody expected the Nationals to be there, yet they were. And they went ahead and they played fantastic. Juan Soto, it looks like a stud. And then you have Anthony Rendon, Steven Strasburg, Max Scherzer. The entire team played to the top of its potential. And when you get a team playing to the top of its potential, that ends in a World Series. So absolutely great for Nationals fan base. And that's another title for DC this year in sports. So good year. And Capitals and Nationals are looking great, and then the Wizards and the Redskins not so much.
Yeah.
So we'll see how both of their seasons turn out. But who do we think is in a good position for next year in baseball? I feel like the Yankees are probably in one of the best positions you have.
Astros
are going to be good again. Nationals are going to be off a high.
Remember, Garrett Cole's going to be a free agent,
That's
so they
true.
could lose Garrett Cole. But
They will lose Garrett Cole, not they
But
could.
considering they still have Verlander and Greinke, they're going to be a playoff team.
Still
They'll be
got that
just
power
fine.
lineup.
Yeah.
Fun.
Where
Yeah.
do you think Cole's
He'll go to the Yankees because Ellsbury will be off the books for the Yankees next year. They're going to let Didi walk. They're going to let Chapman walk. So they're going to have excess of $200 million that they're going to be looking to throw around. I think they could get Garrett Cole with $220.
That'd be a really scary pitching rotation
Yeah.
if they could get Garrett Cole.
Yep.
Garrett Cole, as much as I would hate to see him go to the Yankees, Connor's right. That's probably going to happen with the amount of money and the enticement of really being a true contender. I like the Yankees in the AL. In the NL, I like the Braves because they were one game away from the NLCS, and I think it was a good I think it was a good team. It's a very young team. It'll be interesting to see how they play.
David, who you think is going to be in a good position?
Obviously the Astros, they pretty much bringing back their core, except obviously Garrett Cole, who could still come back, maybe not. The Yankees are obviously still in a very good position. I also like the Braves. And I'm a Cubs guy, so hoping David Ross can come in and help us out a little bit.
Yeah, what are your expectations for David Ross this year or next year as the manager of the Cubs? AJ, you got any thoughts about Ross?
He's obviously played for them. He's played with some of those players, so he knows them well. But I think he'll come in and do a pretty good job. The Cubs are still good, even though they missed out in the playoffs. He's got a lot of talent there, so I think they could possibly get back to the playoffs.
I guess the question really is, will the Cubs players, take Ross as the manager and not the player? That's going to be the big question for next year. I think that the Cardinals more than likely will be strong still. We're probably going to lose Ozuna because we don't want to pay him. So I don't think it will be Ozuna on the team, but we have too many outfielders than we know what to do with. Tyler O'Neill will more than likely be in the lineup next year. Flaherty's going to be great again. Hopefully we have Jordan Hicks for the full season.
Typical Cardinals fan making a Cubs signing about the Cardinals.
I'm just talking about teams that are in a good position for next year. The Cardinals showed that they can make the NLCS. They've proved that even with a little bit more, they have the talent to reach the World Series.
That is true.
Who did the Angels hire?
They hired Madden.
Yeah, they hired Madden.
So what expectations?
Well,
thank you, Zach.
I just wanted to say David Ross, our on-cameraman, Zach Vance there. I just wanted to say about David Ross, these are very hit or miss signings whenever you bring in a former player because you don't know their management skills. There have been plenty of times when a former player has done just fine as a manager. there have also been a lot of times where it hasn't. For example, Michael Jordan being the president of basketball operations and now an owner in Charlotte. We see how that's going.
Not well.
Paul Molitor, former Milwaukee Brewer, was managing the Minnesota Twins for a long time, and he really couldn't get anything done with that team. In hockey, Wayne Gretzky came in behind the bench for the Coyotes, and that was a no-no.
Train wreck.
And it was a train wreck, and just drove them closer to bankruptcy. And so it's a very hit or miss. So we'll see how he does this year.
So we're going to talk about one or two more teams. I think the Rays are probably going to be in a good position for next year. Connor, you giving me a maybe? What do you think?
Fan interest is down. There's talk about moving to Montreal.
They're going to split time between Montreal.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. I don't know. I don't see the Rays as
Partially
any
because
real
you're going like
threat.
the two furthest
Yeah.
destinations in the MLB.
And it's like, how do you expect both cities to be engaged if the Rays know if their team's doing good early in the year, they're not going to even see them in the playoffs, so why would they be engaged? And then Montreal's aspect, they don't see them until game 90 they moved to Montreal, so why do you expect them to be? And I think season ticket ownership will just be a nightmare. I just don't think it's a good idea, and the Rays in general, they don't really have they're not known for winning. I just don't see them.
Their team's good.
Their team's good, yes, but I wouldn't say the Rays are a
They have now
contender.
a large fan base.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else do we think? Maybe who's your sleeper team for next year?
I think the Angels. I think they have a lot of talent if Ohtani can stay healthy, and I think having an actual manager instead of Brad Ausmus will be a good bonus. I mean, he's a good guy. He was with the Tigers for a while. Everyone likes him, but he's just not known for maximizing talent, and I think Joe Madden will help that, and I think they'll finally make the postseason.
Don't waste Mike Trout's career.
Exactly.
Who you
Yeah.
thinking, Nate?
For the AL or just
in general as a sleeper team?
as a sleeper team? I'm looking at the Padres. Machado is doing. I think that was a good signing. I think the rest of their talent is developing along somewhat nicely. And the Dodgers are kind of on their way out as a core. I had a feeling that this might have been their last chance at things. Kershaw's not getting any younger. They got an aging core. If they could make a splash in the NL West if they ball out.
David, AJ, you got a
Um,
sleeper team?
I think I want to go with the Phillies here. I think that.
I think that's mine too.
Yeah. I think Bryce Harper is going to come back and have just a really good season after missing the playoffs and
Becoming
the Nationals.
meme of the MLB after.
Yeah. I think he's going to come out and have
Yeah.
a pretty good year.
They fired Kepler too, didn't they? They got rid of their manager. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I like the Red Sox. Obviously, they're World Series champions last year, and they had a down year, didn't make the playoffs, but there's still a lot of talent on that team, and I think they're going to get back to their winning ways again this year or next year.
All right, so that's what we have for the MLB season this year. In the next segment, we're going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be interview with HSC football player and SSN's own Nick Hetzel. Hello, welcome back to the Royal Download, and we have a special guest, Nick Hetzel. Go ahead and come on down, HSC football player and SSN's own, coming through the locker. Don't take down the locker. He makes it through. Nice to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too.
All right, so we have a giant game for you guys coming up against Carmel in sectionals. What are your thoughts, first of all, about being in this position, how the season's gone so far?
I think given some of the things that we took throughout the regular season, some ups and downs, I think with the momentum win that we had against Brownsburg at Brownsburg, it was a huge momentum shift, and I think going into the playoffs here, I don't think we could have drawn it up much better. I mean, we got Carmel at home first round. They've got some injuries and some things that they're dealing with. They've got a pretty good scheme that I think we match up really well with, so I think that we're pretty excited for it going in.
You and I have talked a lot about this matchup
Yeah.
off screen, and we've noticed that you guys match up very well against Carmel. So what are some of your expectations kind of going in as a team and how you're preparing?
It's been one thing that we've talked about with coaches, and the coaches have been preaching it all week, last week and this week even. Their offense is struggling. They've had a struggled set, really. They've had problems with finding a quarterback, finding some receivers to actually like solidify their passing game. So they've relied a lot on the run game, and it's kind of given some issues for them. So I think if our defense can give our offense some good opportunities, and if our offense can hold on the ball and shorten down the field a little bit, I think it'll give us a better opportunity to put them in some tough situations and force them to throw the ball, which I think will give bigger opportunities for our defensive secondary to make some plays. So I think we're looking pretty good, and I think we match up really well with them. So it comes down to whether our offense can make plays or not.
So we have a whole bunch of Royals fans watching. So what do you want them to know that you guys have been saying in football? What do you want them to be like coming out to the game on Friday?
It was something that, as of last week, we've seen a lot of with a bunch of different various indie reporters around the local area predicting the game. And last week it was a lot of predictions predicting Carmel to beat us by 3, 4, whatever it is. There was another report that came out just last night, and the new prediction is 21-20 HSE. I finally think that people in this area are finally starting to realize that we're not the underdog here. We truly are a better team, and I think with a good atmosphere here, with a good student section, a big turnout from like the community, with as much disdain there is for Carmel, I think that if we can get a good showing of HSC supporters, we'll have a great opportunity to win.
And really, this is a great matchup in sectionals, just with the story of HSC Carmel, the two kind of powerhouses for a long periods of time, and not just football, but just HSA sports in general. This matchup should be a good one.
Well, it's a huge opportunity for HSC for this senior class for us to finally like set a legacy and like kind of turn this program around. Whereas, I mean, we've not had a 6A sectional win in the first round. We've got a lot of momentum going in. Carmel's got some issues, but I think just in the last 20 years, the record between the two teams is 16-3 in favor of Carmel. So this is a huge opportunity for us to get a big momentum shift and get a lot of power going into the second round.
So you being a senior, this could be your final game in high school football.
Yeah.
What are some of your emotions going through that?
It's definitely going to be an emotional night. I mean, you never want to think about the possibility of losing, but I think there's going to be a sour taste if it ends now. But I don't think there's really much of a thought in my mind that's crossing that's saying we're done yet. There's no idea. There's no thought that has come through my mind in the last week saying I think that we don't have a chance. I think we've got a really good matchup, and I think we've got a good I think we've got a good plan set from our coaches.
All right, we want to thank you for stopping by on the podcast. Number 28, Nick Hetzel, senior, wide receiver. We'll see you out there on Friday. Best of luck.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right, we're back. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this interview. Thank you to Nick Hetzel for coming on. But we're going to go ahead and do the 2-minute drill. So 2 minutes to talk about kind of what happened this episode, some general thoughts about sports. Let's go ahead and kick it off. David, you wanted to talk about Pacers?
They look very bad.
They won last night.
They won.
That was a good win.
Finally. But the first 3 games, also the Cavs, which
Cavs Nation, baby.
And the Pistons twice.
Pistons twice. And
hey, one of those games was close. Was 1 point. Could have gone either way.
Loss is a loss.
They're not looking very good. And Miles Turner just sprained his ankle or whatever.
They'll be bad.
Gotta get the chemistry figured out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that's never really played together. Malcolm Brogdon is as good as advertised so far this season. Domantas Sabonis is playing out of his mind.
He's going to be a star.
So
Goga, who they've been cheering for, so excited for him, has looked like he hasn't even played basketball.
He's an experiment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyone else have any thoughts about today episode?
Well,
sports, Nate?
I'm just, I think the first week of the NBA season got a lot of surprises. Of course, the first drug suspension. I told Tristan probably the hours before it happened, I'm like, I can't wait to see who they pin first. And it was DeAndre Ayton, one of my favorite centers in the league right now. So I am not, they're currently repealing it. Very sad. It was a diuretic. He didn't know what he was putting in his body. Just another careless decision.
That's what they all say.
Okay, chill. It's not a Barry Bonds situation here. They
don't know what's going on.
But the Suns look good without him, so I'm fine.
AJ, what have you created with our beautiful pumpkin that you can vote on? We're going to have voting later on social media, so make sure to vote for the Vodcast pumpkin that you
Baseball.
saw painted. What did you paint?
If you can't tell, we got a baseball here. It's a
lot of
light
people
blue
won't be able to
baseball.
Can't tell that it's a baseball, but okay.
Light blue baseball. But I mean, I think I did a pretty good job.
I disagree.
I agree.
I think in 20 minutes
Hopefully we'll
alone,
win.
20 minutes alone, also doing a podcast, I think that deserves a vote.
It deserves a vote.
It
Vote for the
deserves-
Vodcast. Our pumpkin
One of a kind.
may not be the best, but it was under the most stress.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to go ahead and download wherever podcasts are sold. I want to thank Nick Hutzelford, Tristan Fleur, Nathan Gergen, Connor Kelly, David Swinner, and AJ Brisbane. This is the World Download Crew signing off.
So we're a podcast sold.
I want to know that too.
We're a podcast sold.
I didn't know people buy our podcast.
Yeah.
You get, like,
Anyone buys it, they feel ashamed of themselves.